And actually, let me give you these statistics that I wanted to send you. Spending on youth services in England and Wales has been cut by 70% in real terms in less than a decade, with the loss of 1 billion of investment resulting in zero funding in some areas, according to research. Analysis by the YMCA youth charity found that local authority expenditure on youth services dropped from 1.4 billion in 2010 to 11 to just under 429 million in 2018-19, resulting in the loss of 750 youth centres and more than 4,500 youth workers. Youth workers and that are going because they don't create stats. That's why youth centres are going. And actually, if you look at the whole everything else that we've just talked about, angry young men are created by upset little boys who don't have anybody to go to. And when we've just come out of an 18-month pandemic, right? Or we're coming out of it, whatever. And what you hear one of the education secretary, he might have just got the sack, I don't know, they've had a reshuffle or whatever they've done, he's talking about introducing Latin. Like, what's that going to do for our children? Can nobody see that angry adults fighting each other at petrol stations has so much to do with this? For me, the correlation is clear. I bet you I'd love to see a line drawn of that expenditure, going down in the way that it does, and it would make a perfect cross if you put probably suicide rates against it and you put crime.
Yeah.
So, I haven't got the data to back that up.
No. But you can realistically make the correlation between the impact of taking away the investment in, say, youth centres and teaching and kind of individualistic support for higher needs children, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that might be, and kind of all the other things. But the ministers and the departments and the civil servants that take this away because they look at it as a number on a spreadsheet. They do it because there's no relatability, there's no resonance. They do not care about the impact of taking something away where there are so many rungs away from the privilege that they grew up with and the privilege that they currently live.
Yeah.
But another way to look at it, they all enjoy elite sport.
Mm-hmm.
But elite sport, you don't get like footballers like Messi and Ronaldo, like just suddenly acquiring those skills at 35 years old. That has come through a product of a youth system where they're nurtured from, kicking a ball for the first time, and they're growing through supportive environments, some discipline, some structure, and then moving them up as they grow and they develop and they're stretched into a place where they become elite footballers or elite tennis players or elite whatever.
Yeah.
So you got to look at not at them as a prevention to crime, but as a possibility of a human being amazing.
Yeah.
And that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen unless there's a change. But the work that we do with Power the Fight and Ben and the team there, they fully recognise as an organisation the impact of the cuts to youth, the youth system, and its correlation to violent crime, and its correlation to the lack of opportunity, its correlation to being kept in a particular world. And so organisations like Power the Fight, and I'm definitely name dropping here, are doing the work not only at the community level, which is incredible, to help people see that actually there is opportunities, supporting the families who have been affected by violence, but also at the policy level. So Ben advises Sadiq Khan, the Violence Reduction Unit. He's working with big corporate organisations to drive change at a systemic level, because it won't happen if we just leave it to government.
No, and it's needed.
Power the Fight,
check them out. Massive shout out to them, massive shout out. And we need it now more than ever, by the way, because of the lack of community that we now live in. If you think how we're supposed to live, right, as humans. Once upon a time, we lived way more tribal. There was a massive community. My mum and dad would have gone out hunting to get the food, and I would have stayed at camp with the elders, the wise older people, right, and all that kind of stuff. that's kind of being obliterated and it's going, right? And by the way, I think you can put a lot of blame of that on the media as well. When you look at stories over the years of stranger danger used to be something that we taught in schools. You know, the media teaches you that the world out there is this big, scary world. And so we're going more and more insular all of the time, even more so now after the last 18 months. And like that kind of fear-driven life that we live, if you're too tapped into the media, I think is compounded that even more. And so it's needed now more than ever to be able to look after the children. And I've said this a million times on the podcast, probably an exaggeration, but any demographic of people should be judged on how they treat their children. And I think we are a disgrace as our country. I think we are an absolute disgrace. And change is needed. So it's good, you know, it's good to be able to hear the work that people like Ben are doing with that, because I think it's just so important.